Hi everybody, this is Alchemist2 and I'm back again with another book review. Sorry it's so late for me doing this, but couldn't sleep. Recently read John Edwards' Crossing Over, which is actually the prequel, I guess you could say, the prequel to After Life, and it speaks more of his upbringing and his background and how he realized that he had his sixth sense to begin with. It's really quite fascinating, and it's just one of those books that you can't put down, no matter how hard you try. If you're interested in this sort of thing like I am, that makes it even more challenging to put it down. And I couldn't. I actually finished it in about a day or two. Actually, yeah, a day. I just started it today and finished it. It's 338 pages, and it's really engrossing and engaging and heartrending. There was a story that John recalls within the book itself that was very touching, I felt. Well, a lot of the stories that he speaks of are extremely heartfelt, and it's just so reassuring to know that there are other people in the world that have this ability, and as I said before, mine comes a little bit differently. I see people when I dream. Sometimes I feel the presence of my mother in the car with me, or a song will play on the radio. I think, yeah, I know it's you, Mom. She does that quite a bit. Um, I know that, and this probably sounds really strange to those of you out there who are scientifically minded, and I too am an analytical, logical, empirical type of person. So normally this kind of phenomenon would sort of bewilder me, but my mother's essence, it has stayed with various things that she touched and held and owned. And one of those things is a an umbrella that has cherubs on it. You know, the thinking cherubs that look like this and looking up in the distance. Yeah, the famous artwork. I think it was Botticelli who did it, if I'm not mistaken. But the umbrella is a replica of that, and when I opened it, I just felt this immense motherly energy, and there's no way of describing that. Maybe because I was thinking of her. I don't know. I don't believe in coincidences. So even to this day, I can still. If she's been gone since 2008, so it's 2008, 2009, 12. That's 4 years. I can still feel her presence within that, and this is what John speaks of, and especially the way that he does readings, or for actually what he calls, no, he calls them readings, but he calls the people that he helps sitters, the people who sit for the reading or the interview or whatever. Um, they don't know him beforehand. He doesn't know them, and it's funny because he gets a lot of different messages coming in from the other side, and he never knows what presences are going to make themselves more prevalent, or the ones that are wanting to get their fair share, and it's just chaos, ultimate chaos. So it's just unrelenting, and I can't imagine these, um, contending with all those different voices who want to be heard. He completely transfixes me. And anybody who has what I call the true ability, and he talks about the big heavy hitters of the psychic world. He mentions my favorite people, by the way, Sylvia Brown, whom I I just absolutely adore her. James Van Prague. Um, I'm not so much of a fan of James as I am of John, because I just think that John is honest and forthright and humorous. Plus, I know, and a lot of people probably have recognized this, but his whole methodology of dressing, if you've been keen on it since Crossing Over, I don't think he's doing Crossing Over anymore. He gets invited to different shows. He was on Dr. Oz not too long ago. Um, he he wears a vest. He always wears a vest. I remember him wearing a vest when he was on Crossing Over. And then I started watching The Mentalist. At first, I just had heard things about The Mentalist. I didn't really know what it was about. And I see the similarities between Patrick Jane and John Edward. I thought, that's John Edward. So, that can't be happenstance. There's no way. 'Cause I love them both, but Patrick Jane is more of a rebel and a character who tends to ruffle feathers. Then he marches to the beat of his own drummer as well. So that's very intriguing that the two things would be correlated, but I think that they are in some way, shape, or form. And I'm just surprised at how much of an impact. Well, I'm not really surprised. John was surprised at how much of an impact he made on society. He's become an answer in Jeopardy. He's been lampooned on Mad TV, Saturday Night Live. That's really, they called it Saturday Night Dead when he was there. He has contacted the spirits of Elvis Presley, Andy Warhol, Johnny Cash, um, different big names of rock and roll, John Lennon. Yeah, I would have loved to contact John Lennon myself. It's just, oh, unbelievable, truly. And it just gives me even more insight into the psychic world. And I think it would be very unnerving at first, but, it's his story from how he realized he had third eye was really quite intriguing, I thought. And I won't go into that here because that'll be a huge spoiler. And if anybody out there is a fan of John Edward, yeah, I won't take away from it. This is just a book that you must have if you are a John Edward fan like myself. Um, it's really a speedy read, very engaging, engrossing, enthralling, and heartwarming, very enlightening as well. And I feel that we are all given abilities, some more so than others. Um, and we are meant to use these abilities to help each other through what I like to call education here on this planet. Um, this is a school, and I actually talk a lot about this with my friend in Jordan, who agrees with me. Um, he's very spiritually minded as well. He also thinks that everything that we're presented here is a test, and it helps us refine ourselves and become better people. Um, and the Bible is more of perfecting oneself, which is very challenging. And I don't think that there's such a thing as perfect here on earth. The only being who was Jesus Christ himself. Um, but beyond that, we can aspire to be so, even though we are fallible, and it's very difficult to be perfect. But while we are here, um, I think that it is up to us to help our fellow man, basically. Just like John Edward, this is what he does through readings for people and reconnecting them with their family or whoever. Um, it truly is a very moving experience, I think, and it's very, how do I say this? It's just altering. It's mind altering. It's life altering, and it shifts perspective massively. I've never been through something like this, but I've experienced a lot of what I like to call cosmic nudges, and there have been numerous signs and signs and confirmations. He also calls them confirmations. The ones that he gets from his spirit guides that he calls the boys. Um, but I notice things like that. I just can't take them for granted. I know they exist. I know they happen. So I can attest to this fact that these things do occur, even though you may not have uh, quantification, because this is the realm of the spirit. The realm of the spirit is entirely different from the realm of the uh, tangible. So, as far as books are concerned, this one gives 2 thumbs up, definitely. 5 stars. Um, it is truly a tremendous read. It's very phenomenal. It's magnificent, and I recommend it to any John Edward fan out there who's looking for something a little bit different to read. And I should have read this one first because it speaks more of his mother and his family upbringing, plus how he realized, like I said, like how he realized that he had the gift of being psychic, which is really one of my favorite stories in the book. Plus the different experiences that he has had um, coming into his own, basically, and the beginning of crossing over the show, um, and all that. So that's about all I have to say about this book, and it is certainly well worth a read. And it's definitely going into my collection because I don't really want to let anybody borrow it. But if anybody's close to me, I will let you borrow this book, but I like to have it back. Just so you know.